Perfect.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, paving your way to fantasy glory, acting as your lead blocker on the way to fantasy excellence, making all your football-related fantasies come true. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, although not for 2 weeks, as the Wolf of Roto Street himself. Glad to be back with you on this Thursday evening for, I don't know, maybe kind of interesting Thursday night game, but certainly one with some fantasy implications. Wolf, how you doing?
Doing good, yeah. Like a good old divisional showdown on a Thursday night. I'm intrigued. There are definitely some fantasy fireworks, whether it's Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, if you're going for him tonight. You also have Ken Walker. And, of course, the big name of the day, Trey Benson. Is he startable now that James Conner is knocked out? So we will dive into all of those questions, all the previews and outlooks for those guys. We'll hit any news that you need to be tracking heading into the weekend. But as always, the majority of the time is your sit-start questions. I believe I set the time, and Christian Mann called me out in the comments. Yeah. I did this at 4:40 a.m. after waking up with Josie. I'm already up. I'm not going to wake up in an hour. I set it for 6:35 a.m. and not p.m. So sorry for anyone that's been camping out since 6:35 a.m. waiting for us. But we are live. We're going to do our usual thing, and we'll have you ready for kickoff. Let's do it.
Yeah, and Trey Benson, who you mentioned, pretty much every short YouTube short TikTok clip, everybody's got him as your number one waiver ad for the week. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts are as far as starting them.
Classic Truth, just tossing out TikTok to sound cool. All the TikTok kids are talking about Trey Benson. Okay.
You want to know something funny? The funny thing is I threw in the YouTube shorts to sound cool. TikTok, I actually am on all the time.
I don't know if I should be concerned about that. I'm on TikTok all the time. Okay, dude.
yeah. So that was legit. It was the YouTube shorts thing I made up.
Nah, there you go. Yeah, try to sound more legit. There you go. TikTok over there.
Anyway, everyone on TikTok loves Trey Benson as a waiver ad.
And they should. We'll talk about him in a second. But let's preview the game.
Let's get into
about 200 people right off the jump. Love to see it. That early thumbs up button does greatly help us get out to more people. We hit Truth on Sunday last week. We hit 3,300 live viewers, which was just incredible. So
one of them was
record. All things going off. I know Thursdays aren't usually quite as packed as a Sunday morning at 8 a.m. But hey, maybe last time we were live, it was 2,000 or so?
We had 2,000 last time. And just so you know, I was one of those 3,300 that was watching you for a good
nice. Time. It was awesome. Yeah, we had a great Sunday show.
Yeah, we had 2,000 a couple weeks ago. Let's try to beat that today.
Let's go. Well, who are you liking tonight, Truth? It's a close spread. I believe the Seahawks at this point, they opened as underdogs. They have now transitioned to road favorites. Only 1.5, though. So pretty much a coin flip spread tonight. I know who I like, but what about you?
I like the Seahawks.
Me too. I'm with you.
I was going to say, when I saw this line and I hadn't looked into it very much, I was just like, well, that has to be wrong. When you said they started out underdogs, I was pretty shocked because I'm not going to put anything big on this game or anything, but just you woke me up in the middle of the night and shook me awake and said, hey, Truth, Seahawks or Cardinals tonight? It's in Arizona. I'd have just been like Seahawks and gone back to sleep.
Yeah.
So thoughts?
I totally agree. They've been playing some great defense after week one. They've been, they haven't allowed more than 7. Actually, I should just say all season. They haven't allowed more than 17 points in a single game. I like Mike McDonald coming over from the Ravens. And you just see how much that defense has suffered the last 2 years since losing Mike McDonald. I truly believe in that defense. So I like the Seahawks, and I like the under in that sense as well. And I've just never been a Kyler Murray guy. Never really burns me. Probably out playing Call of Duty late last night. I'm not into Kyler Murray at all. So I think this defense, they've had their number, especially lately, 7-0 outright and 6-1 against the spread in 7 straight meetings. The Seahawks are against the Cardinals. So I'm going to stick with history there. Yes, they're 0-3 against the spread as road favorites since 2024. And Arizona's 8-2 against the spread as underdogs since 2024. So you can kind of find the stat that's going to go for your trend. I just think the Seahawks team is stronger. I think the defense is cooking right now. And again, these last 2 games, the offense has looked really well. 75-30, a combined score these last 2 weeks. Granted, it was against the Saints as one of those teams, but the Steelers, a very legit win, just thrashing that team. And so, I like the Seahawks a lot. I just think they have the better overall team, the better overall coach. And I'll take them favorites, underdogs, whatever you want. I think they win by at least a field goal. So give me the spread.
Remind Remind me again how the Cardinals did last week.
They probably lost, right? They lost by 1 point to the Niners. Yeah, that game was ridiculous.
Right.
To Mac Jones.
Right. That's kind of what I was roundabout trying to get to. Right.
Who doesn't get his proper due, by the way?
He doesn't, but he's an easy target. He's the easiest target there is, and I'm. Look at me. He just caught a stray from me for absolutely no reason. But yeah, I also like the under. I like the Seahawks. I feel pretty confident about it. I'm sure as soon as I say that, it's going to be 21-0 Cardinals in the first 6 minutes of the game. But yeah, I feel like
anybody on the Cardinals, truth like that.
Right, but someone must be right. Someone must
People must be, yeah. But I just don't understand who it is because I haven't heard one single person. I haven't seen one single tweet where it's like, go with the Cardinals at home tonight. Nobody wants them, which means they're probably the smart bet. But I just don't see a world where the Seahawks aren't the better team, play the stronger defense, better coached. I just like the Seahawks a lot here.
All right, we're aligned on this completely. I also have not heard a single person say they like the Cardinals. If you're one of those people, drop us a line in the comment section. We'll definitely kick it around before things are all said and done tonight. All right, let's move along. And of course, we alluded to this. My hipness with the young community was brought into question when I mentioned TikTok and YouTube Shorts. As it turned out, the YouTube Shorts comment was a lie, but the TikTok was very real. Every a big part of my TikTok feed, my algorithm is fantasy football. And, there's lots of here's who you should start in week 4. And a lot of the guys are idiots. But one thing that's pretty consistent is that a lot of people are just like, oh, you got to pick up Trey Benson for obvious reasons. So the question is, do you start Trey Benson tonight? Obviously, it depends what your other options are. But walk us through his situation right now and moving forward, in your opinion.
I just think we got to get some more truth TikTok dances going on the RSJ feed over there. Get the youngsters all. I want to see the trending going over there.
The dances are a very small part of my algorithm.
I do love Trey Benson, though. Let's dive into him. I wrote an article about him, too. If you want the really in-depth breakdown, it's on rotostreetjournal.com right now. I put it up on Reddit today. It immediately hit 900 questions and comments on there, which you love to see. I hit about 200 of them, and I was like, I got to get ready for the show. I can't keep answering these. So hopefully some of the Reddit community has made it over to
come on over
as well, because I just can only get to so many. Keep filling that mailbag if you haven't already. Let's dive into him. And the most likely answer is yes, you do need to start Trey Benson tonight. But I will admit I am -3 ECR, so it's not a home run slam dunk. We'll talk about both the pros and the cons. Mostly pros here. He's a size speed freak as Trey Benson, 6 feet tall, 4.39 40. I mean, that's like Jonathan Taylor, 99th percentile type of size speed score right there. Absolute bell cow after Connor got hurt too. 87% of the snaps, 71% of the rushes, and 50% of the routes last Sunday once we had Connor depart. And he was already, Trey Benson, locking in that pass-catching running back role. He was the 2-minute running back through week 2 and week 3. So there's a path that he gets even more work because he was already taking the receiving work from Connor. There is a path that this guy gets an even more featured role than what Connor was doing beforehand. This backfield's 13th in expected fantasy points so far, so top half of the league there. And I imagine that he's going to inherit a vast majority of the 23 expected fantasy points a week this team is averaging, and he's looked good. 29 touches, 170 yards from scrimmage so far, ranks 13th in yards after contact, 8th in runs of 10-plus yards, and he's got only a handful of attempts on the year, and he's already ranking quite well in these key efficiency metrics. So I'm a huge fan, despite that small sample size, of what we're seeing from Trey Benson. That goes with what he was doing in college as well. He was elite. Scott Barrett broke it down. This guy was #1 in missed tackles first per attempt entering last season. I know it's probably changed with that elite running back class emerging last year, but still, Trey Benson was the top 2 running back in an underwhelming class last year. So a great prospect entering a very high likelihood of a workhorse bell cow role. And then you think about tonight, Seahawks, they're allowing the 13th most points to backs on the year. And when you schedule adjust that, it's actually the 9th most points allowed as well. In particular, they've really struggled against receiving backs. McCaffrey, who does it to everybody. So I guess we shouldn't use this as you got to target him, but he did have 10 targets, 9 catches, 73 yards. And then Jalen Warren, the guy who's really struggled most of the year, he broke loose for 4 catches and 86 yards against this team as well. So if nothing else, I do like hitting Benson's receiving prop. I think it's 21.5 on DraftKings. That's a home run to me. That's an absolutely slam dunk pick, in my opinion. But I do think he should be started in most cases as well. He's ranked as my running back 20 on the week. Again, -3 ECR. I've gotten a lot of like Quinshon Judkins or Trey Benson, Cam Scatterbo or Trey Benson. And I'll admit it, I'm going to the rookies in that case. I'm waiting till Sunday. I'm fading Trey Benson for those two guys. I'm just huge on both of them, though. So I might be crazy. I might look foolish at the end of that. I'll totally admit it. I do have Trey Benson just a spot below both those guys. But yeah, I think in most cases, let us know your sit starts. There's a very high likelihood. I've gotten Marvin Harrison on the same team versus Trey Benson. I'm going to the running back. I'd rather have the consistent touches, the volume, the decent matchup as well. That's where I'm leaning. But do let us know what you guys are thinking of Trey Benson. It does look like we do have some super chats.
We do have some super chats. A couple of them are just nice guys saying hi, and they appreciate us. Luca Mateo, thank you for all your advice on X. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Luca. Great to see you. I love all the interactions.
Yeah, and Krana, who has a bunch of questions right off the bat that we'll get to eventually. Guys, I waited since 5:35 a.m. Much love, fellas. Good things come to those who wait. It's great to see you. It's good to hear from you again. Of course.
I hope there's some food questions in there from Krana too. And again, my apologies. I assume most people knew we weren't going live at 6:35 a.m. And I tried to switch it, and Facebook was giving me problems. I was like, you know what? I think everybody knows when we go live. That was a 4:45 a.m. Up early this morning with the kiddo type of goof. It happens, But hey. I'm glad you've been here since 5:35 a.m. Just counting down the minutes, Krana. Great to see you.
On a Week 4 Thursday night football game that features the Cardinals.
Yes, let's go.
Mountain Man throwing us a super chat. Thanks a lot. He has an actual question, which you are certainly entitled to do. You don't just have to give us nice words of praise. This is what the super chat's for. K9 or Judkins. And then we've also got Keenan Allen, Johnston, or Myers.
This is a great one, Mountain Man, because it involves Ken Walker tonight. And we do know it was news we're going to cover, so might as well talk about it, that Zach Charbonnet is back tonight. We already have the coach commenting, even while Charbonnet was out last week, that he views them as two number one backs. We've seen that deployment throughout the year. It's been a near dead even 50-50 split. In fact, the last time both these guys were out there, Charbonnet had more work and more snaps. He, of course, took I think it was 14 carries for 15 yards. He looked god-awful, while Kenneth Walker turned out, 100 yards and a touchdown on his carries. And it seems like Walker's really starting to find his groove. And I really do love Kenneth Walker tonight and in this scheme in general, even if it is a timeshare. It worries me because Judkins, he looks really good. Against a Green Bay tough defense last week, he ran all over him. And nobody else this year has done that. And he's only really been with this team for a handful of practices, and he's looking phenomenal so far. So I do really like Quinshon Judkins. But to me, gun to my head, as close as I have these guys, similar tier, I'm a Kenneth Walker truther. I've always really liked this guy. He's so explosive. He needs one touch to rip that thing to the house. So I am going to go Kenneth Walker. I think he really established himself last week. We'll find out. It's going to be very frustrating if Charbonnet and him are still locked into that dead even split. But I'm going Kenneth Walker very slightly over Judkins. What about you, Truth?
I agree with that assessment, pretty much right on the money. I'm, for obvious reasons, apprehensive about Kenneth Walker, but I would also pick him here.
Yeah. And then that receiver one's brutal because you got both the Chargers guys, both of them thriving ahead of Ladd McConkey so far this year, which is wild. You have Myers also in a great matchup against the Chicago Bears coming up as well. And both those Charger guys against the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. So another great spot for them. Is that who are the Chargers facing? I think it's the Giants, right? I got to make sure. It is the Giants.
I'm 90% sure you're right about that.
Yeah. I'll pull up my ranking just to make sure. Okay. I thought I had it memorized, but at this point, apparently not. But I do think they're facing the Giants. Either way, I remember it being I have Johnston in my personal lineup. He's balling, but he also seems to me the bigger risk to just disappear. Whereas to me, Keenan Allen, solid floor play and a decent ceiling each and every week. It looks like he just never left the Chargers. Like he's leading this team in targets so far. 3 straight weeks of leading the team too over Ladd McConkey. I got to go with Keenan Allen in this sense. He's my wide receiver 23. It is the Giants. Yep. So
it's the Giants. They're playing in New York or in New Jersey.
Assuming, Mountain Man, that you get some points for receptions, whether that's half, and especially if it's full, you got to go Keenan Allen. The only way I would pivot on this one is if you don't get any reception points, then I do value Quentin Johnston. You're going for the big play. You're going for the touchdowns. I think you'll get those out of Johnston this week. But if you get any type of reception points, whether that's half or full, I got to go with Keenan Allen in that sense. I really like him. I do like Jacoby Myers a lot, though, this week, too. So am I ignoring his upside? I don't know. You're facing Chicago. He's looked really good all season, especially in full PPR. Last week, a little bit of a dud, only 3 catches and 63 yards on 4 targets. But the weeks before that, 12 and 10 targets. I think I'm a little too high on Myers in my rankings, though. Gun to my head, I would probably go Keenan Allen here. I'm going to bump Myers down my rankings a little bit after looking at it. I have him above both, and I think I'd have him below at least Keenan Allen on this sense. What's your read on the Chargers and then Myers?
It's funny. I feel like we're not aligned on this one particularly at all. I don't know how much of this is bias because I'm a proud Quentin Johnson owner. But I love the guy. He's been super reliable every week, and he's putting up like 15 points a week, pretty much like clockwork. It would be hard for me to go away from him. I hear what you're saying about the reception points, but man, this guy's been extremely, extremely reliable, and not like unsexy reliable, like 8 points, 7 points a game. He's putting up big numbers every week, and I don't really feel like the Giants are about to shut him down.
So absolutely right. And I'm starting Quentin Johnson this week for the first time this year, which also means he's probably going to bust on us, of course. But ultimately, you're dead right. But also, Keenan Allen has put up 20, 17, and 20 PPR points so far.
He has.
So he's also lighting it up. Whereas you look at Johnston, I feel like it's been a little bit more. I mean, they've all been booms, 25, 16, 15. But 7, 7, 10. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, he's been great too. So it comes to a gut kind of decision. I think the big news for both those guys is the Chargers are passing at the highest rate in the league, which is insane. 15% pass rate over expectation. For all the Greg Roman, all he likes to do is run it, which I was fully concerned with, because that's how you've got 11 years and 12 that he's been towards the bottom 4 in terms of passing rate and top 3 in terms of rush rate. He's completely flipped the switch. It seems like they really want – there was a narrative at the beginning of the preseason where it was all about they want to get Justin Herbert the MVP. Jim Harbaugh had a quote about how he would die in shame if he doesn't get Justin Herbert an MVP at some point. And it seems like they are actually going for that right now. I love when these narratives end up actually playing out with the stats and production and the game flow. The way they're throwing it this year really suggests it. So I do think you've got to go with one of the Chargers guys.
I mean, one right now, half-point PPR, at least in my league, I believe Quentin Johnson is the wide receiver 5, and Keenan Allen is the wide receiver 7. So, if you're talking about I got to start one of these guys, and I mean, I'd be looking to start them both, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're talking about absolute top guys. Keenan Allen has been targeted, I think, 4 more times this year than Johnston. And I mean, they're both getting plenty of work. They're both getting plenty of catches. Herbert looks great. I would lean Johnston, but I mean, even if you look at the numbers for the season so far, they're flip a coin.
Yeah, that's a great stat. 5 and 7 for these guys. And then what if you still have that list pulled up, Truth? What's Ladd McConkey?
That's a great question. Let me look right now.
Because it wildly, clearly was the highest drafted.
I know he was. He's 49.
Yeah, wow. I had a tweet that went semi-viral. Some people slamming, you're loving it. Some people slamming it this summer, where I said, in no world should Ladd McConkey ever go ahead of Jonathan Taylor, which he was. His ADP was higher than Jonathan Taylor.
It's crazy that that's even something that you were having to defend.
And people were like, I don't know about that, especially in full PPR. I think you're crazy. A lot of people were like, yeah, I totally agree. And I don't understand that price at all and why Taylor's going so low. That one, I don't like the victory lap, but that one looks pretty good. I have a lot to shame. I love a good warm up the legs and stretch them out. But that one looks pretty good as we're talking about this. So, yeah, Mountain Man, just to wrap it up again, we both like Kenneth Walker more. It is risky because Judkins does look like the clearer featured back moving forward. So I do think that there's a very real chance this flips at some point. But Walker just so explosive, and I do love this Kubiak run scheme. So I'm sticking with Walker there. We're going with a Chargers receiver of your choice. The Truth likes Johnston. I like Keenan Allen. They're both great bets. They're facing the Giants. They should destroy them. Both those guys are very viable this week. And you do have Myers against the Bears, which is I get why he's in this conversation. He's been great all year too. But I side with either Chargers guy ahead of Myers, and I personally go Keenan Allen myself. Great question, though.
I agree. Man,
you guys going on that one.
We do have another super chat, just for whatever it's worth, half-point PPR in my league. Myers is 27th. and it's looking good. But you got to go with one of the Chargers guys, in my opinion. Great choices to have. We do have a super chat, and then he followed up with another super chat, which I'll just throw up real fast. RJ put up also 3-0, by the way, so that's an addendum, appendix, add-on to his question. RJ says 12-team half PPR: Knicks, Jamar, Egbuka, Kyron, Bucky, Benson, JK, Warren, Danny Dimes, Chubb, Tet, Evans. I always pronounce that wrong, on the bench. Lineup or trade options. I mean, you got some great – well, I was going to say on paper you got some great guys. Jamar is not as valuable as he used to be, that's for sure.
I know. It's too bad. And I was going to say, I wonder if you can get some name value for Jamar. I doubt it, though, at this point. And in fact, it seems like one of those situations you probably have to hold. Granted, like, let's say you could pair up Jamar and Benson and get yourself Jonathan Taylor and like another wide receiver toss in. Maybe you do that. But running backs are clearly the strength of your team right now. And with Jamar being a little bit questionable, I would say maybe you, especially Benson, let's say Benson has a monster night tonight, right? I think he's going to be good moving forward, but you have Dobbins. So you're going to, at minimum, be benching one of these 4 running backs that all looks good. And Warren looks really good too. To me, I would be looking to maybe upgrade. You have Danny Dimes at quarterback. I know he's hot. That's one that could end up. You have Knicks too, though. You got a good. I can see why you're 3-0, RJ. Like, I don't see any immediate like trade issues for you. You have Evans banged up right now, though. So if anything, I may be trying to move a little bit of that running back depth. I think JK is a decent sell high because I do think RJ Harvey at some point takes that backfield over, or JK, he's got a long injury track record as well. So maybe you could move like JK and Jamar and get yourself. I don't know, though. I'm trying to like picture something because I think Jamar, you'd probably be selling low. And at this point, I think Browning can be much better than what we saw. So I'm not trying to sell him at his lowest point right now. I don't know. This is a really tricky one. I don't love Chubb. That's like the only guy I'm like, that one doesn't do much for me.
No, well, so maybe you'd sell high on Chubb because Chubb's fantasy numbers are actually okay.
They've been okay, yeah. Maybe you can sell like JK, Chubb, and you move like one of your Bucks guys. Probably not Evans because no one's going to want him because he's hurt right now. I would say I'm looking to have like one more wide receiver 1 in this lineup, given all the depth you have. Like, could you package up JK and Egbuka even? And with Godwin coming back, maybe he takes a hit at some point. I love Egbuka, so I don't mean to like disparage him, but I know you're looking for like a move to make. I would say selling high on JK, Dobbins, and Egbuka. If you could package those guys and get yourself, JSN, for example, who's looking just like the next Puka. If people aren't, fully appreciating him. Even like Rome Odunze is looking like a true alpha these days. I don't know. I think JK and Egbuka for Rome might be a little too much, but maybe you can get Rome and a toss in or something like that. Is what I would be looking to do. Devontae Adams is looking great. And some people seem to doubt that he could keep this pace up. And I think it's just only getting started for that guy. I'd be looking to upgrade my wide receiver 2 spot with Jamar Chase and then maybe a beast. Maybe you can move Egbuka and Dobbins or something of that nature, or Warren and Egbuka. Capitalize on Warren being the true focal point. I'd be looking at something like that, RJ. Let us know if you have a team that's 0-3. Maybe you get Rashee Rice on this team. You know what I mean? Maybe you could trade J.K. Dobbins for Rashee Rice if somebody's desperate for. That's actually what I really. If you're 3-0, you can have that lifeboat right to Rashee Rice where you lose another week or something in here. It's not going to kill you. You've already set yourself up so well to maybe make that move for a guy that's coming back in week 7 that will be a true wide receiver 1 as soon as he steps on the field. That's what I'd be looking at. Is his owner panicking? Is his owner in trouble right now and needs a running back? Maybe you could pull off JK for Rashee Rice or Warren for Rashee Rice, or you add, whoever else in there that gets it done, JK and Chubb. I would say either look for that or try to pair like JK and Egbuka and get another true wide receiver 1 on your roster.
Look, we're only 3 games into the season, but 3 games is not a nothing sample size. Like that is something legit. And right now, I like what you're talking about as far as JK and Egbuka. Each of those guys in half PPR is the wide receiver 10 and the running back 10, respectively. Those are real numbers. And so if you're not a believer, or if you fear injury, if you think Harvey's going to take over the backfield, which I don't unless there's an injury, at least not this season,
Sure.
Yeah, it's not a bad time to try to sell these guys because top 10 in their position. I mean, that's a real piece. And you're talking about maybe trying to package them both. See what you can do.
Yeah,
Thanks for the question.
In particular, as I talked that through, I think either packaging them for a true like St. Brown, if you can get something real like that. I got 2 top 10 guys, like you said, Truth, for your only one guy. That could be a great move. Or I really like the idea of trying to pursue Rashee Rice and moving a Warren or a J.K. Dobbins and getting Rashee Rice for one of those backs. That's a guy that I've really been targeting. If his owners are in particular 1-2, 0-3, and they just can't wait it out anymore, you can get Rice on the cheap right now. So that's the other move I'd recommend. And congrats again on the 3-0 start, RJ.
Yeah, great job.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
We were just finishing up talking about Trey Benson. So thanks for all the super chats, guys. We sometimes we hate to get sidetracked, but we're always willing to get sidetracked for that. So thanks a lot. Yeah. Meanwhile, while we've been chatting, we're pushing 1,200 people.
Let's go.
25 minutes in. So thanks. The crowd keeps growing. Fill up that mailbag, guys, because we have been being pretty good about getting to everything.
Absolutely. And do please consider hitting that thumbs up. I know the super chats are so helpful and the most appreciated, but it's also free to hit that thumbs up, that like, that heart button on Twitter, the retweet button. That all helps us get out to more people, new subscribers. We'd love to keep climbing towards 5K on YouTube. We'd love to have you guys. So please do consider that. But yeah, why don't we move on to Torrey Horton and start getting to the mailbag in just a second. A guy that's out there in 90% of Yahoo leagues, at least. And on Yahoo, I know for sure you can cut your bench players after they've played. And I see no reason why Torrey Horton shouldn't be 50% rostered or even higher right now, given you could cut your kicker, you could cut your defense, put this guy in there. If he does nothing tonight, you pick up another one. If you have a defense that you just can't cut, the Lions facing the Browns this week, or you have King Schrader at kicker over there for the Colts, okay, fine. But there should be a way to get Torrey Horton on your bench for a little tryout tonight. This guy is balling out all training camp, 6'2", 4.41, 9.83 relative athletic score, 99th percentile there. It's just an incredible size speed freak that was phenomenal throughout college. As a sophomore, 71 catches, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Follows that up with 96 catches for 1,100 yards and 8 TDs as a junior. And then he gets hurt as a senior, gets a little derailed, and ultimately falls to the 5th round. But he got to camp, and they were calling him Jerry Rice Jr. for how well this guy was going. Pretty hyperbolic praise, it would seem. But then Clint Kubiak gets asked, have you ever coached a rookie that, what rookie have you coached that Torrey Horton reminds you of? Because this guy, back-to-back weeks with big, long scores, explosive guy. So this week he got asked that. And did you hear, Truth, who he compared him to, who Clint Kubiak said?
I have not. Who did he compare him to?
He said he reminds me of rookie year Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, so Jerry Rice, Justin Jefferson. I mean, again, I know that that's not the bar we're setting for this kid or the expectation, but if his name's even getting like sniffed alongside those type of greats, and Kubiak was the offensive coordinator during Justin Jefferson's rookie year for the Vikings, Dalvin Cook having a monster year that year too. I remember.
Dalvin Cook, wow.
Oh, yeah, throwback, loved him. So yeah, I mean, just great praise for this kid that balled all preseason and back-to-back weeks. He's got 11 points and then 18 points the next week, 3 touchdowns across those last 2 weeks as well. Looking great. I'm a big fan of this kid. I know that they run very heavy 2 wide receiver sets. So he's never his highest on the year for snaps is 49%. So it's not a guy that you can pick up and just like toss in your lineup, but if there's an injury to JSN, if he keeps outplaying Cooper Kupp, he does have that deep ball role for the Clint Kubiak offense to stretch the field. Very valuable. We saw Marcos Valdes-Scantling last year with the Saints go bananas in that role for a stretch. So I really do think Torrey Horton is a guy that by mid-year we're all like, oh, man, we really wish we had him on our team. Why not get him right now? I'm a huge fan of him, and I'd stash him at minimum for just a little tryout tonight to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm also interested in him. It always makes kind of the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit when I hear like Jerry Rice Jr. Oh, he reminds me of Justin Jefferson. I'm old enough now where I've seen enough people come along and be like, oh, Harold Miner from USC. Oh, that's baby Jordan. And it's like, no, actually he was a role player for like 6 or 7 years and then he was out of the league.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a different sport. It's just when you're starting to compare people like, to get attention, to get clicks, whatever, it's like, yeah, it's Jerry Rice Jr. It's like, we'll see. With that said, I agree. You should probably stash him.
It doesn't hurt to stash him. So, guys, we're going to just whip through real quick the quarterback news, the running back, receiver, tight end news. We only have about 8 to 10 blurbs that we're just going to quickly rapid fire for so you know what to look for entering your weekend. And then it's on. We got about 50 or so questions in the mailbag already. Keep them piling up. Let's go. We'll hit the rest of the time, about 35 minutes or so total. And then the rest of the time is on for your mailbag questions. So let's do it, Truth. Starting with Jaden Daniels, limited on Thursday. Does seem like it's back-to-back limited practices. It seems like he's trending towards being in. Of course, they are 2-1. They will play it safe, but it does seem like the Commanders are going to get Jaden Daniels back. He's facing a pathetic Falcons defense. I love Jaden Daniels. As long as he's in, he's got to be in your lineups, is what I think.
I think until further notice, that's true. Yes. Justin Fields, concussion. He practiced in full on Thursday. The coach, Aaron Glenn, he said Fields is going to start in week 4 against the Dolphins if he is cleared to play. Obviously, with concussions, that's a big if. But going against the Dolphins, he could put up some fantasy points if he plays.
You couldn't ask for a better matchup to return to. I'd have him right at quarterback 11 under Baker Mayfield should Justin Fields be in. We saw the hot and cold already this year, but he's got a 30-point day. He's got like a 1-point day. Against the Dolphins, I think we're going to be much closer to that.
Closer to 30. Yeah.
Should he be in? And then Brock Purdy looks really good as of Wednesday. Practiced again today on Thursday. Seems like he is definitely trending towards back in that lineup. In a great spot against the Jags. Brock Purdy right into your starting lineup, most likely in many cases.
All right, let's talk. You want to talk running backs?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about Bill.
Yeah.
Bill didn't practice on Thursday. He was reportedly seen practicing earlier, but they've officially listed him, or they did officially list him today as a non-participant, although some people suspect he was participating in some solo rehab stuff on the side. But according to this blurb, they're saying with this, he is now on the wrong side of questionable. What do you think?
I mean, it does make you worried. I do think Jared McNichols, who had that 70-yard touchdown in week 3, has to be added at this point. I think Chris Rodriguez should be added. He started the game. Bill, he scored some touchdowns. I love the story. I love the vibes all about this guy. It seems like he's just running very pure, though, and at any minute the rug could be pulled out. It could be this injury that pulls that rug out. And so I'd be nervous if I had Bill. I'd certainly be adding, if McNichols is out there, him first. And if he's not, I'd be adding Chris Rodriguez. If I need a backup plan to Bill, like either of those guys could be fine. Little spot starts should Bill be removed. And if Bill plays, it's just like they seem very committed no matter who's gotten hurt. Eckler obviously done for the year. They still remain committed to that 3-headed kind of nightmare system. I think it's going to be very tough to depend on this backfield throughout the year unless another mouth gets removed.
Fair enough.
And then we move to wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb at the top of the news. He's not practicing. Seems very unlikely is the report for Sunday. There was a lot of optimism earlier in the week. Oh, he's going to be right back out there. Now it's turning towards it could be a multi-week injury. So who knows exactly what's going to happen there. I do think George Pickens gets bumped up. And then, of course, Jake Ferguson, the number 1 tight end in fantasy points right now. At 13 catches last week, 10 the week before. The guy's an absolute target hog, looking like Trey McBride in this Cardinals-inspired scheme. I really do like Jake Ferguson, of course, with CeeDee Lamb out even more than before.
And the next one, we got another big name guy, Devontae Adams, and you pasted in a tweet where they're saying, "Oh, we didn't see him in practice." Tunes actually has put in the comments section here near the end that Devontae Adams did not practice today. So for whatever that's worth, that's confirmed, I guess, non-citing. Devontae Adams did not practice today. What do you think of that? What do you make of that?
They did say at the end of the tweet that Sean McVay doesn't expect either injury, including a lineman, the right tackle, Rob Havenstein. He says both those guys are out, but he doesn't think the injuries will affect their game status. Adams is a baller. He doesn't need to practice to then go out there and put up 100 yards and a touchdown. I'm playing Adams, assuming he's in. Of course, monitor it. A guy like Jordan Whittington ends up becoming a viable punt streamer. He's really always stepped up every time he's been out there. But I think Adams will be out there. I think Adams is fine. I think this will be a non-story, but we just had to note it for sure. Ricky Pearsall is practicing, leading the wide receiver drills today. Juwan Jennings is not practicing. We've seen Pearsall really step up in his absence whenever Jennings has been out last week, week 1. And I think Pearsall can be counted on again as a top 20 wide receiver this week. Pretty much locked into lineups if assuming Juwan Jennings is out. And even if Jennings is in, you're probably playing him, but definitely if Jennings is out.
Xavier Worthy, due to this shoulder issue, he's been out, but he is practicing in full. getting ready for week 4 against the Ravens. I honestly don't know what to make of this Chiefs wide receiver situation. It's like, oh, Hollywood, he's bound to get 1 million targets, which he did for a while because these guys right now, you're talking about Rice, you're talking about Worthy, all these guys. Is Rice still with KC?
Yeah, but he's suspended till week 7.
Right,
so.
But he's out, right? He's out I knew he was out for a while. But, we're talking about all these guys coming back in. People are getting targets here and there. How do you like Worthy coming back? If say he plays week 4, how much do you like him?
I don't think I'd be tossing him out. There's real decoy risk. They're saying he's playing with a harness on. Maybe he just comes right out and dominates. But Tyquan Thornton's been very, very good in his absence. Expatriate over there, back-to-back weeks with long touchdowns from Pat Mahomes. Had more of a regular wide receiver role, not just a deep field stretcher last week, too. He's looked great. And so I don't think they're going to rush Worthy into a featured role as he's recovering. With Thornton looking as good as he has. So it just makes the situation messy. I really think at the end of the day, the up and down nature of this entire wide receiver core just leads all passes are going to lead to Rashee Rice being back into that target hog role by week 7. As of right now, I just don't really trust it. I'd love to see Worthy come back and be amazing, but I think with Tyquan thriving, him potentially being a decoy, if I can bench Worthy, I would like to bench him this week.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, a guy just threw in the comments, did Bro just say, is Rice still with the Chiefs, LOL? And then he said, all love, just had to break your balls for that one. Yes, I hear you, and I was 99.9% positive that he was still with the Chiefs, but just on the off chance that I had missed something, I was at least going to run it by so I didn't dig myself into like a really deep hole and being like, oh, yeah, these Chiefs receivers, and then find out, yeah, actually, he's on the Vikings or something like that.
So sorry. On comment section. Truth deserves every little bit of nut that he gets from that.
It's true.
You mentioned Hollywood Brown, by the way, too. 16 targets in week 1. Been pretty useless since then. I actually cut him for Torrey Horton, who we were talking about earlier, just to give you guys a barometer. Like, I knew at this point, I'm not starting Hollywood Brown. And at this point, like in 3 weeks when Rice is back, I certainly would not be considering him. So I just cut Hollywood outright for Torrey Horton. So that gives you guys a barometer of how much I respect Torrey Horton and want him on my team and how much I don't care about Hollywood Brown anymore.
Yeah, agree. I feel the same way about Hollywood. I mean, he was all the rage for a week or two, but I mean, there's only so many slots out there.
Absolutely. And Bucks wide receiver Chris Godwin practiced on Wednesday, full participant, did not practice on Thursday. My guess and what the news reporters suggest is it was just like a planned practice rest day, a schedule that he's on, and he is expected to be out there this week. It was a pretty brutal dislocation of the ankle that required multiple surgeries. So this would be a little bit ahead of schedule than what we expected. But with Mike Evans banged up, they're going to need some firepower against the Eagles. And it sounds like Godwin will be out there. Similar to Worthy, when these guys step right in from an injury, I would prefer them on my bench if I could, but if you need to play Godwin, you need to play Godwin. Wide receiver 2 last year and fantasy points per game. Absolute animal, absolute monster. And now you have no Evans. So he's definitely in consideration for startability. But I'd like to see how he looks before really tossing him out there if I can.
I've had him sitting in my IR spot. I got him for like $2 or $3 in an auction. And I'm actually in a situation now because I have Evans too, where Evans is hurt, and I don't have any other great options, and I actually think I might roll him out there this week, although I have the same apprehension that you do.
Great locker room presence, too, though. So, Godwin, you can get him in the lineup,
All right, next up, Terry McLaurin, due to a quad injury, did not practice on Thursday. There really haven't been any updates since then, but Debo would be getting a big workload, assuming that McLaurin doesn't play, and also Noah Brown is kind of banged up. So what do you think?
Yeah, Debo's already shown great chemistry with Jaden Daniels all year, has been kind of the true number 1 wide receiver with all that time Terry missed, and now he's banged up. This is what happens with the holdouts. They're bigger risk for injury because they're not in game shape. They don't really perform at the beginning of the year. It's why I faded Terry McLaurin in the majority of my drafts. I don't really have any of them, and it's kind of panning out at this point, especially if he misses this game. So yeah, you're not playing Terry McLaurin if he ends up somehow in anyways, but you're certainly bumping up Debo should Terry McLaurin be out. And the last note I wanted to give on wide receivers is Ayuk is, quote, not close to returning. So I know a lot of people have him stashed in the IR. That's fine. But there are at this point, Kittle's in my IR. Evans is going to be another guy in a lot of IRs. You got Tajay Spears potentially as an option. I just don't love hanging on to Brandon Ayuk at this point. It's really unclear when he's going to be back. Of course, if you have no one else on your waiver wire that you can put in there, why not hang on to him? But there are more and more options coming out there that you could potentially consider for your IR spot. So he's not a must-hold by any means at this point.
All right, let's move on to tight ends. Brock Bowers, pretty much the consensus tight end number one in fantasy drafts, fantasy auctions, and stuff going into the year. Full participant in practice on Wednesday. He's been dealing with this knee injury since week 1, but he is officially off the injury report. He's practiced, had 3 limited practices ahead of week 3. How frustrated, how panicked at all, if any, are you on Brock Bowers? How disappointed? Do you think this guy's going to just be the target hog that, we were anticipating he was going to be?
I do. I think he was banged up these last 2 weeks. He hadn't been practicing in full since week 1. And in week 1, before he got hurt, in 3 quarters of action, 8 targets, 5 catches, 103 yards. He was looking phenomenal. He's facing my Patriots. So I watched every second of it. And he just looked every bit like the best tight end in the league. And, he had 10 points last week. I still think Brock Bowers will be more than okay moving through the season. And if anything, Michael Mayer was a little bit weirdly involved, a little sketchy there for Brock Bowers. He had a concussion last week, though. He's not practicing at this point. So if ever there was a runway, you got Chicago, just an awful defense right now that lost their best cornerback. I think this is kind of Bowers. As long as it sounds like he's practicing in full, if he's fully healthy, you're always going to start him anyways, no matter what. Of course, if you have Bowers, but this is where I think he really pans out. And if his owner's panicking, my owner in my main league just sent a message he's up for grabs for anybody. I'm going to do my best to get him because I think this is a great buy low opportunity on a tight end that will end up being a true difference maker. And I think it starts this week with a 100-yard, 2-touchdown type of effort.
I tend to agree. If anybody's panicking on this guy, it would seem a little premature to me, especially given what you probably spent on him to get him in the first place.
Right.
Hang in there. He's probably going to pay off.
Yeah. Hold strong if you have him and buy low if you don't is what I would play.
If he gets shopped around in my league, I'm certainly going to throw out some feelers.
Absolutely. And then Colson Loveland not practicing, the Bears tight end, a popular sleeper. I thought he could be much more intriguing than what we're seeing so far. It does put Cole Kmet, who's been a great touchdown scorer throughout his career, on the streaming radar. Or if you want a Hail Mary touchdown bet on Sunday, consider Cole Kmet at this point because I could see him getting in. They got a nice soft matchup coming up against the Raiders. So I like that one for sure. And then we just got a handful of line notes. One being Tristan Wirfs is practicing in full. Very welcome sight against that ferocious front seven for the Eagles. Should be back for the Bucs. And Baker already talked about how when he doesn't have to worry about his blind side at all, it changes exactly how he plays the game. So that's great. And then Christian Gonzalez will be back against the Panthers, it sounds like, for the Patriots. About time, like a 10-week hamstring injury, but a welcome addition for us Pats fans. Can't wait.
This is why hamstring stuff just. Like I see Mike Evans out 1 to 4, 2 to 4 weeks with hamstring, and I'm like, yeah, maybe hamstrings. I hate them.
Yeah.
How many hamstring injuries have we seen linger like 12 weeks?
It's the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst.
I know. Absolutely.
Anyway, we're like an hour from kickoff right now. We're pushing 1,500 people in here, and I believe that takes us through the news. Do you want to start talking mailbag?
Let's hit the mailbag, baby.
All right, Luciano M. Marvin Harrison or Chase Brown? Chase Brown has been thrown around in some trade talks in my league. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on both of these guys.
I'm very worried about Chase Brown.
Me too.
I'm worried about the Bengals as a whole. I will say, Browning just 2 years ago did average 270 pass yards per game. They were scoring at, not at the exact clip as with Burrow, but it wasn't a huge drop-off. Maybe he's fallen from grace at this point. I still believe in Chase Brown, though. As a buy low at this point, because the one thing with Browning too is when he was the starting quarterback 2 years ago, is the screen rate went up a ridiculous amount. There's so many designed running back targets. Mixon's points per game, I believe, actually went up that year compared to what they were when Burrow was the quarterback, because they ended up just like leaning on the running back. So they got swallowed by a tough Minnesota defense. Browning looked lost out there, but whether Browning gets his chit together, or what if they trade for Jameis? What if they trade for one of these quarterbacks that could actually ignite this offense again? If the owner for Brown is panicking, which they probably are, I've seen a lot of really low ball offers out there, I'd go for it. And I would play Brown this week over Marvin Harrison, yes.
I would also play Brown, but I share your concern. I am definitely nervous about it. But putting some perspective here on the Bengals situation, we all know how you felt and how I felt and how a ton of people felt moving into the season. I'm not going to say unquestionably number one overall pick, but we had Jamar number one. Right now, rest of the season, like in a vacuum, where would you put Jamar Chase if you were drafting in a snake draft right now?
I don't know off the top of my head where I have him in the rest of the season rankings.
Ballpark.
I believe it's like 12 to 15 range is where I have him.
And I mean, that's a really significant drop off from somebody that we think is maybe the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brown's taking a real hit there too. Right now, any Bengals player is taking a real hit. With that said, I'd still start him over Harrison also.
Yeah, I do think they're getting hit a little harder than they might deserve to. Again, I think this was a very good Vikings
I kind of think that's true.
That swallowed them up. So if there's a buying opportunity, particularly on Chase, certainly on Brown as well. T. Higgins, I don't think Brown can support that many mouths, but I do think Brown will be okay, and I think Chase will be okay at minimum. So I wouldn't be panicking. Too bad. But I'm nervous, no doubt, but I do think this is a buying window has opened up that might get slammed shut if Browning comes out there and throws like 3 touchdowns this week and the Bengals offense looks okay. You're not going to get Chase Brown any cheaper the rest of the year. You're not going to get Chase any cheaper, is my opinion.
I think people were really shell-shocked and rightfully, or understandably, I should say, scared when the Vikings went out and dropped, like we're up like 30-0 on the Bengals, like right out of the gate. And you're just like, oh boy, here we go. And it's like, I honestly think that was rock bottom. I don't think you're going to be seeing that or worse moving forward, but they really did start with just the worst, putting their worst possible foot forward, and definitely probably freaked some people out.
Absolutely, understandably so. Too.
All right, Krana, you were asking if Krana was going to ask some food questions. The answer is a resounding yes. He does have some football questions, but we're going to start here. Happy National Quesadilla Day, guys. I didn't know it was, but happy National Quesadilla Day to you too. Love a good quesadilla.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite Mexican food? For me, it's quesadilla. So good. Week 4, and I need questions answered. Haha. So let's start with the Mexican food question. I don't know if you saw, Krana, we did a fast food draft, and the Wolf got the number 1 overall pick and went, understandably, again, Taco Bell. So he likes a little Mexican food. I don't know if that's
I'm obsessed with Mexican food. If I had to choose like one food to eat the rest of my life, it'd be Mexican. And I know it's horrible and my toilet would be in trouble. But I love Mexican food that much. I do think a chimichanga is my personal favorite, like a deep fried burrito, steak and cheese chimichanga with queso drizzled all over it. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion. But I do love birria beef too, as well. What about you, Truth? What's your go-to Mexican?
I mean, just obviously there's a high ceiling and a low floor when it comes to this food, but just really, really good stuff to the brim with whatever I want, and a great sauce burrito. It's just like the size of a football. Like, that's what I'm going for.
Double meat. You just get one of those humongous.
Yes, that will always get. If you don't get double meat on your burritos, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite go-to place for your burritos?
There's a place called Bueno Isana here that's really, really good. But I mean, I've eaten many a great Chipotle burrito. Sometimes, I'm not going to hate on them. It's gotten expensive. It's not as good as it used to be, in my opinion. But man, I've had some good late nights, just kind of like semi-conscious in a Chipotle.
I love it. Yeah, we have a spot called La Victoria around here that's amazing, but Chipotle used to be the GOAT. It's definitely taken a step back.
All right, now some actual football questions. Purdy or Nix? I'm assuming 6 points for a TD pass there. Geno or Stafford? Same thing. Golden, Wandale, or Turpin in a deep league PPR? Let's start with Purdy or Nix.
I got to go with Nix. You're facing Cincy, just an abysmal defense. If the Cowboys didn't exist, they'd be the worst in the league. The Bengals, the Cowboys might be the worst defense that we've ever seen of all time. So, I'm going to go with Nix. I think he's going to throw 3 to 4 touchdowns this week. I'd go Geno over Stafford as well. As much as I like Stafford real life-wise, fantasy-wise, he just doesn't end up doing all that much. He'll get like 15 catches from Puka. He might score a receiving touchdown, but it ends up being Stafford going for like 200 yards and 1 touchdown. He's great at feeding everybody, but not actually eating himself. He's very unselfish in that sense.
You think that's going to even out, though? Like, he can still make throws that very few guys can make.
Of course, I've seen the highlights this year. He's done that. But it ends up being like a throw to the sideline that, like, okay, Nakua just racked up 2 points because he got a 20-yard beautiful back shoulder, but doesn't do much for Stafford. He does. I don't know. Every year he pops up for a couple big games, but I mean, let me just pull it up right now. What Stafford's points at? 14, 18, and 15. Very meh. You know what I mean? Just fine. 2 touchdowns. I guess he's got 5 touchdowns on the year. He's playing good ball, but I don't know. I think Geno against the Bears, pathetic defense right now, especially allowing the deep play. I got to go. And Cronich, your Bears defense, you know how bad they are. Geno's coming off a 26-point day quarterback 4 performance. I think he can do it again, especially as Trey Tucker starts to cook.
Okay. And last but not least, Golden, Wandale, or Turpin, deep league PPR.
I like Golden. I think he's really going to bounce back. 8 targets last week. Now you get Dallas. We were just talking about the worst defense we've potentially ever seen. Yeah, I got to go with that. Does look like we got a super chat from our good old friend, R Cannabis, baby.
Yes,
let's go.
Of course. R Cannabis, thanks for the super chat. I'm benching Harrison Jr. for Shakir, and I'm benching Andrews for Schultz. And consistency, is it crazy? Feeling it, holding out for Daniels to play. So I want to actually just real quick. I'm going to jump on one of these real quick, and I'm going to ask you this: as far as we talk about Andrews, does he check either of these boxes or both of them? So we're going to check. He does.
Fat and useless.
Right. He checks both the fat and the useless box. So I think that should answer your question there. What do you think, Wolf?
It should, but you're talking about Dalton Schultz, who, if we rerun that list back, I feel like Dalton Schultz might check those ones doubly.
He did. I didn't say who this was referring to, but you knew who I was talking about.
Mark Andrews is certainly fat and useless, yes. We're talking about Dalton Schultz here, our cannabis. I mean, all the more fat and all the more useless compared to Mark Andrews. 28, 29, and 39 yards on the season so far for Dalton Schultz. What are we doing? I guess if you play full PPR, he's got like 3, 3, and 5 catches, so you get some points there. But there's no world where and you know me, I am like the biggest Mark Andrews hater. I would not be benching him for Dalton Schultz. I get it, 2-1 in his first 2 weeks. He's coming off a 27-point day. I can't bench that. If you were getting to something with mild upside, maybe if you were getting to Jawan Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, those guys, sure. But to me, we're talking about Dalton Schultz as the other option.
So, I know the Wolf well enough to know it pains him to say that, okay? But when we talk about benching Andrews for consistency, let's talk about what consistency looks like for Schultz real quick. I mean, Schultz is averaging – do you know how many points a game Schultz is averaging?
4.
5. I mean, so that's the consistency you're looking for. It's not – I hear what you're saying, and Andrews does check those boxes. But it's like the Wolf said, there's no upside really. So as far as Schultz goes, I would probably roll because he's round and fat. I would probably roll him out there for another.
I wrote like a mini short thing today. It's called Fat and Useless, starring Mark Andrews. I think he'll someday star in it. I think I have high hopes. I'll send it to you, Truth. I think you'll get a real kick out of it.
I'm sure I will. I literally, and this is, I'm not exaggerating here. I asked my son to get me a clipboard and a sheet of white paper before we went on, just in case Mark Andrews got mentioned, because I was like,
you had that pretty quick. I was like, he must have had this in mind, because he came up with that pretty quickly. I love it.
I did. Yeah. At my age, you got to write this stuff down beforehand. But yeah, I was ready for that. So thank you, Arcannabis.
I will note too, Arcannabis, that Andrews has actually very much struggled against Steve Spagnuolo throughout his career. If you look back at week 1 last year, where everyone was all panicking about him, and understandably so, Spags is great at taking Andrews out. So I totally understand the desire to bench him. And if you want to, I get it. But at least get like Harold Fannin or, even Chigo Konku, like somebody that has a sniff of upside, because Dalton Schultz is not the one.
He does add in a post right after that. Big league, those are the only options. It pains me to rely on Andrews to show up. Schultz at least gets looked. So that's his logic. I mean, it's not crazy, dude.
If you're going there, go to Cole Kmet with Colson Loveland out.
Well, but it's a big league. He's saying I'm sure there's very limited options.
Cole Kmet's 1% rostered. Like he is 100% out there for you, Cannabis. I get it. I get your options are limited. Don't do Dalton Schultz. Bench Andrews, fine. I'm good with it. Of course. I cut Andrews last week, and that's why he spited me with a 27-point performance. I understand it, but ultimately, it can't be for Dalton Schultz. This guy's coming off 27 points. Even the shot at like a 15 to 20-point day, you're not getting that with Dalton Schultz. you have at least a case that it could happen with Mark Andrews because we just saw it. So I think you're crazy there. In terms of the wide receiver one, Shakir versus Harrison, I'm okay with it. I'd probably, again, put in – but again, our canvas, we have different philosophies. Like, I don't need to play for consistency when the consistency is like, all right, Shakir, I'm going to pull up his game logs. It's consistent. He's probably gotten you like 7 or 8 points. I know he had a touchdown last week. He gets New Orleans, so like, okay.
He had a late touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. 9, 2, and 13 and half PPR, though, these last few weeks. 9, 2, and 4 targets. And you're facing New Orleans. Are they going to have to throw the ball at all? Probably not. I get it's a bad defense, and to get up, you probably had to throw at some point. But we know it could be Keon Coleman. It could be Dalton Kincaid. To me, they're both inconsistent, Khalil Shakir and Harrison. At least Harrison has that like 2 touchdown, if they're chasing points all night, could light it up. I don't love either of the options, but I personally would go for the ceiling of the Harrison and the ceiling of Andrews and just hope that one of them hits and they balance each other out. And if they both hit, great, you're cooking. The other options just are such a, you want consistency, but they're not really consistent at getting anywhere close to what you need in a fantasy lineup, in my opinion.
Harrison and Shakir, just for the record, both averaging around 8 points a game. So neither one of them is getting you out of bed.
No. But I'd go Harrison over Shakir, and I'd go Andrews over Schultz. But you got to trust your gut, our cannabis, as we always say. Thank you so much again for the support as well. But yeah, I would not be going the route you're going on either of those ones.
I think that the Shakir one is a lot more defensible, and I cannot believe I'm sitting here defending Andrews.
After your checklist of fat.
I mean, I brought a physical prop on the set that I was going to use, bashing this guy, and now I'm like, oh, you should start him. Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's go back to Krana. Thank you so much for the super chat, our cannabis. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, guys, 1,600 of you here. We're closing in on 2,000. Again, you love to see it. A thumbs up button, a heart button on Twitter, the retweets, the shares, all that good stuff. And, of course, any new subs. So greatly appreciated. And my rankings, of course, for those of you that don't know, are at rotostreetjournal.com. Free always up there. They've been cooking this year, too. We're doing really well on the rankings and views, and everything on Google is just back. RJ's back, baby. But we'd love to have you check out the site as well. If you're just here for the streams, make sure you check out the site as well.
We've been doing this. I believe we've been doing this. This is, I think, year 10, man.
Yeah. So, incredible.
That's awesome. We need to get some 10th anniversary custom special order shirts or something.
We should. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. Krana.
Mark Andrews' face and says fat and useless over it.
with boxes next to him, you can check.
Yeah, check. Check.
Krana has another one. Tyreek or Garrett Wilson PPR. Starting Chase is my other wide receiver. Flex 1 PPR. Keenan Allen, Debo, Henderson. Pick 2 PPR. Genty, Mason, Hampton. And just jumping to the last one there, I mean, you've seen that stat about Ashton Genty that's been going around, right?
What is it, like 145 yards after contact and 144 rushing yards on the season?
Yeah, 101% of his yards after contact.
That's absolutely brutal.
When I saw that, I was like, I'm filing that away and mention it, but I'll bet it's such a thrown around stat. I figured you'd probably have seen it by the time I got to you, but it's very noteworthy.
100%, and it makes me bench him for Mason and Hampton, both trending, rocketing upwards, and Genty just terrifying right now. I do like the matchup against the Bears. I think he could bounce back, but Mason and Hampton are both top 12 running backs for me this week, so I don't see any reason to mess around with Genty if you have those type of good options. So I'll go those 2 backs. I'll definitely do Garrett Wilson over Tyreek, who's been so inconsistent, quits on his team, screaming on the sideline. He did have a good week last week, but Garrett Wilson's been cooking this year. Wide receiver 6 and 4 in 2 of his 3 weeks, 19 points in those in half PPR. And now you get Miami, just an abysmal secondary, abysmal defense. I got to go Garrett Wilson pretty easily for that. And then Keenan, Debo, or Henderson, assuming Terry's out, it's got to be Debo for me. If Jaden Daniels plays and McLaurin's out, that's a no-brainer. If, McLaurin's in and Mariota's the quarterback, then, yeah, maybe we pivot to Henderson or Keenan. But for me, I think it's clearly Debo, it's clearly Mason Hampton, and it's clearly Garrett Wilson.
Okay, fair enough. Krana, last question. Johnston, we've already talked about Quentin here. I like him a lot. Wolf does too. Or Benson, Flex PPR, Scatabo or Javante PPR, finally DJ Moore or Worthy. Thanks, guys. I have a pretty strong opinion on all 3 of these. What do you think?
I I do love Quentin Johnston, but I am going to go for Benson in the running back volume tonight because I do think he's a PPR asset too. I think he's going to catch 4 to 5 balls. As much as I love Quentin Johnston, the way he's played, I still worry. Maybe it's PTSD from how inconsistent he's been in his past. But I just feel like as soon as you trust him, and I have to trust him this week, so maybe that's why I feel queasy. I just think the rug's going to get pulled out from under us. Whereas Benson, I know he's getting 17 to 20 touches and will get me something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. Scatterbo versus Javonte is very, very tough in my opinion. I think I go Javonte Williams. The way he's been cooking, just so tough to turn him down. But I love Scatterbo this week too. I have Javonte 17, Scatterbo 19. So they are very, very close for me. Very tough question. But I'd go Javonte. And then, like I said, I'm not trusting Worthy. I think he's going to be a decoy. So I'll go DJ Moore, even though I don't really like him that much. So I go Benson, Javonte, Moore. What about you?
I would do the same thing except Johnston over Benson. I'm disregarding a little bit how anytime you trust Johnston, then you can't anymore. And Herbert looks like a different animal to me this year. So we'll see what happens. I could get burned on the Benson thing. He is averaging like 6 yards a carry over the season, which is not nothing. So I would go Johnston. The other ones I agree with you on, but I agree Scatterbo and Javonte is a strangely difficult choice.
Yeah, it is. I love Scatterbo too. I love the energy he brings. I wish I had him on more.
I mean, he out-received Malik Neighbors like 1,000,000 to 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
No Tyron Tracy either. True featured back.
Yeah.
He's going to cook this week. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. That's a tough one. All right, Droid209, what's up, man? Start 2 flex and 1 wide receiver. JK, Shaheed, Javonte, Turpin, and then start 1 quarterback.
It's
Indiana
not Turpin.
Jones.
Come on, why are we even? I know CD's out, but come on, we're not playing Turpin. So
we're not doing that. Yeah. Quarterback: Indiana Jones, Sam Darnold, or Dart. Thank you, my guys. No problem. Can I just say I hate the Indiana Jones nickname?
Everybody's throwing it out there, and I'm not a huge fan either myself, but I don't hate it. You hate it, huh?
No, I don't. I've had a lot of kids that I've taught over the years, and some coworkers that call me be like, oh, Dr. Jones talking to me. I'm more of an honorary doctor, not really one. But I like Danny Dimes. I don't know about the Indiana Jones.
I prefer Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. Yeah,
it's not like my least favorite name I've ever heard, but I don't love it. With that said, he's been pretty good this year.
I do love him in fantasy, and I would absolutely go Daniel Jones here, the quarterback 4 in fantasy right now.
Oh, that's an easy one to me. Obviously, you're going with him. We were just a couple years late on this guy.
Yeah.
All right. Did we? And you answered the wide receiver question?
Yeah, you're benching Turpin, and you're going Indiana Jones.
Absolutely. Do I go Juwan and forgive Andrews for sitting him last week?
I would go Juwan over Andrews still. I'm not forgiving him. The Chiefs have taken Andrews out of the games many times. So, yeah, I'm going to keep going with Juwan there.
Fair enough. Ross H., Seahawks defense or Chargers defense, Geno Smith versus Bears or Bo Nix versus Cincinnati. Both juicy matchups.
Yeah, I'll go with Chargers for the defense. I know Jackson Dart makes it a little bit riskier just because if he comes in and lights it up like he did the preseason, they might stink. But this is a very good defensive unit in a spot where they can go completely bonkers. So I do like the Chargers. The Seahawks defense has been playing very, very good football, though. So that's a tough one, but I like the Chargers there. And I'm going to go with Bo Nix at Cincy. I just trust him a little bit more than Geno. Both great matchups, though. So I'm going to go Nix and Chargers. What do you think?
Something's off with Nix, man. Like
it is for sure.
Like not just like something's not quite there. And I'm not saying I think he's injured or anything. There's just something that's not quite clicking. It's almost there, but not quite. Are you worried about Malik Neighbors moving forward, or do you feel that this is going to ultimately help him?
I think this definitely helps him. He can't get worse than Russell Wilson. I know he had that huge game. I think that was just a exactly.
I mean, that was just he was throwing the ball up in the air, and the Cowboys are so bad that it was just dropping down in Malik Neighbors' hands every single time.
Exactly. I think Jackson Dart's a huge upgrade for him, so I'm not worried about Neighbors. And I have him, I believe, top 3 wide receiver rest of season still.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Bo Nix and Chargers there. Do you feel any disagreement or no?
No, I agree.
Sweet.
Cola, Sharp, or Henderson? Yeah.
Henderson. Yeah, with those fumbles for Ramondre, you got to think they're turning the keys over to Henderson. And Charbonnet, coming off injury, Ken Walker looking really good. I'm going to roll with that.
Yeah, I think Henderson's at least going to get his shot here. We're going to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Kristen Mann, dang. I put my question 11 hours ago, so she was one of our 535 truthers. And it's gone. Full PPR. Need 2. Wide receiver and a flex. Tyreek Hill, Worthy, Judy. I hate Judy. Quentin Johnston. Do you too? Quentin Johnston, Schultz, Ollie Gordon, crying and Kansas over my IRs. Yeah, sure. I hate Jerry Judy. I'm sorry.
I do too, but yet I'm probably going to have to. What's with Dalton Schultz? Why are people?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of Dalton Schultz love.
It doesn't make any sense to me. You got to go Tyreek. You got to go Quentin Johnston. I think this is one where I probably would go Worthy too, because I am down on Judy. He was a fade in the draft guide, and he has continued to show why. I'd just probably toss out Worthy and hope for a big play against the Ravens that have the most points to wide receivers on the year. I'd go Hill, Johnston, and Worthy in that order.
Yeah, I think I probably would too, and that's a commentary on how down I am on Judy because I really don't want to roll Worthy out this week.
Me neither, but I wouldn't play any of those other guys over him. And as she mentions, wrong timing. That was my bad there, Kristen Mann. Baby brain over here.
Yeah, right, baby brain. How long do you get to use that excuse for?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't be using it anymore, but she's starting to teethe, so she's been a little bit up or down with the sleep these days. And so I've been a little up or down, and I think it was fair today.
I honestly am asking because I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've had an actual
I think you can
baby.
keep using it, Truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, I think my brain is so permanently addled now. I honestly don't remember the answer to the question. So now I'm asking you. Yeah. Tunes, Love or Murray?
I got to go Love against that Dallas defense. I mean, come on. Anybody against them. Russell Wilson's a hero against that defense.
Etienne or Henderson, half PPR?
I'm going Etienne there. I do like Henderson to have maybe his breakout game, but I'm going to go with Etienne, though. It's so safe and steady right now.
Coleman or Higgins, half PPR?
I got to go Coleman. Is it T. Higgins? Yeah, it's T. Higgins.
I'm assuming he's saying T. Higgins, yeah.
I'm going to go T. Higgins, I guess. I don't know.
Because
both these guys are boom or bust. I guess I'd rather just T. Higgins, who is a way better talent.
That's fair. Fetish. All right.
Fetish.
Should I be trading Keenan Allen in redraft PPR? Are we okay with starting him rest of the season?
I'm totally fine starting him. If you think you could sell high to somebody, go for it. But I do think you got to sell high. I wouldn't be like itching to trade him. I think this is for real, for sure.
I agree. I mean, I'd be happy if I had him on my team. Yeah. Baker or Geno? Thanks, guys. I'm Baker all the way.
Baker for sure. Yeah, he's such a baller. He might be my favorite player.
When he came out of college, and you were really high on Baker, and I was not a believer, and then he kind of flamed out. And not only did I dislike him, I had the moral high ground completely. And I really went after him in my auction league. Really tried to get him hard. And when you say he might be your favorite player in the league, I'm having a hard time coming up with an obvious one that I pull for more. And if you had told me that a few years ago, hey, this is going to be arguably like your favorite guy to pull for in the NFL, I'd have been like, there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. But it has. It
has. Yeah. He's so root worthy at this point.
He's just fun, man.
He is. He's so fun. You want to be exactly the way he's risen up from the collapse he had is just so impressive and motivating in a way, even though it's football, you're never going to be an NFL player. You just love to see somebody crash down, but dust himself off and just complete leader of men. I love Baker. Yeah, so much.
The Panthers really blew that one. God. Oof. Anyway, but put that on the list of the things the Panthers have blown over the years. Toon says Benson, Jacobs, Myers, A.J. Brown, one running back, one flex, full PPR.
I'd go Jacobs and Benson. I'd probably have to play A.J. Brown over Benson.
I can't bench A.J. Brown.
Especially in full PPR in a game against the Bucks, which points might be back and forth. Yeah, I got to go Jacobs and A.J. Brown there.
Me too. A.J. Lee. My team started 0-3. Do I trade CD for London?
I hate to hear it. London, though, you got a bye week coming up. So it's like, I wish we knew exactly how long CD was because maybe it would make sense. But when you factor in, okay, you get London this week, a good matchup against the Commanders. Maybe he comes through for you. But then you have a bye week, and then CD Lamb's probably back. Am I really trading London, 1 week rental. I'd try to tough this thing out.
I would not
for
do
the
that.
win. London, because London hasn't been that good. The volume's been okay, but he's just been sketchy.
London hasn't been good at all, man.
No, so yeah,
I'm not trading CD for him. No,
I'd hold strong, AJ, or go for more. If you think you can sell CD, go for it, but not for London. I think you can do better than that.
Not straight up for London, unless he's out longer than I think he's going to be out.
Right.
Eric E., you guys are great. Thanks, man.
You're great too, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah. Andre, sup, fellas. Hope everyone's 3-0. I am not, but I'm not far from it. Question, half PPR, Fannin Jr. or Godston?
Oh, Rondé Gadsden, the guy from the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
I'd stick it out with Fannin, but I am very intrigued by Gadsden. He was one of my sleepers in the draft guide. Big fan of the guy. But I'd like to see it really start to develop here. So I'm going to go with Fannin. I think he's still a stud. We did get a super chat as well from FZ Ware, consistently supporting your boys. Great to see you, FZ.
Harrison Jr. or Waddle PPR. Ugh. Oh, boy.
Neither guys I love. Waddle does have the touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. So I think I'll just ride the hot hand there and go with Waddle. I don't know, though. I'm not a big Waddle guy. And the Jets are a pretty good secondary. So, yeah, I might go with Harrison in second thought and just hope for a blow up against Seattle. Neither of these guys are great, truth. I don't know.
No, I would look, you're coming off 2 touchdowns, like you said. I'm probably going Waddle, but I have severe PTSD from having Waddle last year. He was so awful. And so my opinion on him is probably once you've been screwed by a guy, you can't ever forget it. And so I believe the right thing to do is to start Waddle. I'm not sure I could bring myself to do it.
I think I would just
That's a me problem.
At best, you're getting a touchdown in like 40 yards, it seems, this year. Both these guys are averaging the exact same amount of targets on the season. So there's no clear volume lean here. I think I would just go for Marvin Harrison and hope he erupts, because we've seen, at least in his career, the eruption potential in his young career. We've seen it from Waddle, but not for like 2.5 seasons.
It's been a while.
Seen it. So I think I go Marvin Harrison here. I hope for some action tonight. It's not great, though, FC Ware. I don't love it, but I would go with Harrison there.
I'm officially going with you on this one, even though it's against my instincts, because I don't want to support Waddle.
I wish we had a better, stronger leaning. You gave us a super chat. I want to give you better analysis, but again, the targets are all the same. You're going for who do you think has the better shot at a touchdown? And I know Waddle has gone back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, Harrison Jr. does have a higher ceiling, though. It's true.
I just think the ceiling's higher, and I think I really think this Jets defense could just completely swallow it. I mean, both these teams are 0-3. I think they're going to both play desperate. And I think, Waddle's got a shoulder injury. There's just a much bigger risk that Waddle's limping off by the first quarter with this shoulder thing that he's got going on. We've seen it so many times where you play Waddle, he exits before he has a catch, and he just ruins your week. I just think there's a better shot at a Harrison touchdown, even though I don't love it. I think I'd go with that.
All right, let's do it. I'm convinced. Convinced as I'm going to be.
And what's up, Frosty?
What's up, Frosty? Andres also pick 2, Golden, McMillan, Tootin, BTJ, half PPR. Thanks. Are you worried about BTJ?
I am. Yeah, but I'm not worried enough to bench him in this question. I think I stick him in there still. But yeah, I couldn't have been higher on the guy coming into the year.
Me too.
I think it's certainly more of a Trevor Lawrence problem than a BTJ problem, but he's not doing himself favors. He's alligator arming. He's
dropping
a lot of drops on the year. So I don't know what's happening, but it's very rare you see somebody play that good as a rookie and then completely flame out. I think there's a list of the top 10 points per game as rookies. He's number 7 with Malik Neighbors, Odell Beckham. It's a list where everyone on that list was studs their career. So I do think it regresses closer to the mean, even if he doesn't belong quite with some of those names on that list. I still believe in BTJ. I still play him over these guys that you have here. And I probably play Tet over the rest of – I don't know, though. I really want to go Golden here. I just am very excited about Golden against Dallas.
Yeah, the matchup makes it intriguing, but it would be hard for me to not play Tet here. The guy gets targeted quite a bit.
Yeah, he does. 9, 10, and 8 targets. Yeah, Tet's probably actually my favorite option. So I'd play Tet for sure. And then I think I'm going to keep riding it out with BTJ there. But if you're just I want to send him to the bench to send a message, I think Golden's the guy I would fire up there over Tootin.
I agree that Golden would be next up, but he would be my third choice.
Yeah, I'd go McMillan and BTJ here, Andres.
All right, man. Gosh, we both do love BTJ, but man, he has not done himself any favors. You're right.
Yeah.
Who wins, Jacobs and Benson or Jefferson? I'm assuming we're talking about a trade here.
Honestly, I'd probably go the Jacobs and Benson side with the quarterback woes. It obviously depends on team needs, team strengths, but if I was needy at running back right now and I could get a running back 1 and a running back 2 for an underwhelming wide receiver 1 right now, I'd probably pull it off because I don't like what I've seen from J.J. McCarthy. I know it's a limited sample size, but he did not look great. Wentz is the other option. I mean, I feel like I got to go Jacobs and Benson there, but I don't love it either. You know,
you think the Vikings? I can't believe I'm saying. Do you think the Vikings made a big mistake letting Sam Darnold go?
Yes, I do.
I do too, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
He looks good right now. He looks
like he's a good NFL quarterback.
I'm excited to watch him tonight. Yeah, I think I'd take Jacobs and Benson. It's close, but especially
if Sam Darnold was the quarterback of the Vikings, this wouldn't even be a question for you.
Yeah,
right?
No, not even close. I think, of course, ABH is like that's assuming both Jacobs and Benson are in your starting lineup. It's not like I do this and Benson's a depth piece for me. No. If you're starting both these guys, then yeah, I'd probably pull the trigger. But otherwise, and I typically am on the side of the stud. I just am worried about Jefferson right now.
I'm not sure how much of a stud he is right now. And I'm not questioning his talent at all, but it's just like with Jamar. Like, can the guy get him the ball?
For a stud? I don't know.
Right. Remember when we talked about how matchup quarterback proof DeAndre Hopkins was, and then Brock Osweiler came to town?
Yeah. Right.
That's always the one I point to. Oh, yeah. Man.
It's a great example.
It's an evergreen. All right, Alfred Natoli. I got Trey Benson over 14.5 carries for $1,000. What are your honest thoughts?
My honest thoughts are you're fucking insane, yes. Alfred. I love it. I wish I had the nuts to or the funds to be able to toss $1,000 up on Trey Benson. I think he hits over 14.5. Would I bet that amount of money on that? No. I wish it was overall touches because I could see a world where the
touches. I was going to say, yeah, definitely.
There's definitely a world where they get a pick 6 and then they score again, and suddenly the Seahawks are up by 2 scores, and Benson might get 14.5 touches, but there's 7 receptions mixed in. The game flow is my biggest worry there for you, Alfred. Beyond just putting $1,000 on there, I ultimately. I think you hit that, but I think it's going to be close depending on the game flow.
I also think it's going to be close, but I cannot wait to see if it happens now.
I respect the hell. And now I'm going to be paying very close attention to that. $1,000 on 14. Good for you, man. I mean, that's wild.
Arcanibus again. All right.
Thank you so much, Arcanibus, for the super chat.
Wait for Daniels to be healthy or start Darnold? We were just
talking
about
Daniels. Yeah, you wait it out because even if you don't get Daniels, I'd probably rather have Mariota than Darnold as my starting quarterback. He's great in fantasy. You know, Mariota runs, he throws scores. He looks he's certainly not Daniels level, but the drop off is really not that steep. So I would just play Daniels, and if he's out, then you play Mariota. It's as good as Darnold has looked as a thrower and a passer. The fantasy upside is not huge because they do run the ball so much.
They do. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, $1,000 again. Super chat us a little bit of that, Alfred. If you got $1,000 to just toss around on 1,000, if you hit tonight, maybe you toss us one. No, I'm just kidding. Enjoy your funds.
I'm super pulling for you, man.
Yeah, 1,900. Help push us over the edge, folks. Hit that thumbs up button. Help us get to 2,000 and back-to-back streams. Me and the Truth would be awesome. Free way to do it. That heart button, that thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets, all that good stuff. He probably doesn't get that. Unfortunately, ABH does not think he gets 14.5. I hope you hit it, though. I hope you hit it, sir.
We'll see. Chris says, already starting Bucky and Hampton. I need one flex in half PPR. Gianti, JK, or Judkins.
I like Judkins here. What do you think?
Well, if you're looking at who's actually produced the most, it would be JK. But JK kind of pulled his fat out of the fire with a big run in the last game. Other than that, he was actually pretty awful. So I could see I'm definitely not going Gianti. I could see going Judkins.
It should be a
going JK too.
Genty too. I'm bumping him down the range, so I saw I had him higher than Judkins. I'd rather have Benson in my lineup than Genty. I just don't. Chicago should be a get right spot, but that line is so bad. So yeah, I'm gonna bump him down. I'm gonna go Judkins there.
That stat we both talked about before is a real eye opener, man.
It is
over 100% of your yards, which seems impossible coming after contact. Come on.
Yeah. We do have a pretty loaded mailbag, Truth, so I might fire up a rapid fire in like 2-3 minutes.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I was going to say 7:56, 7:57. Let's go rapid.
All righty, sweet.
All right. Patrick said trade Chase Brown for Debo, lost CD, and I need a wide receiver too. Terry's injury could keep him out. 12-team PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. Wide receivers Lamb, Tet, Ridley, Coleman, Wicks, running backs Brown, Javonte, Mason, Jones, Benson, Tootin. That's a lot of information.
It's a lot to process right now. I would say probably if you need the wide receiver, it seems like you have pretty good running back depth. I think it's a fair swap, yeah.
This guy says, ABH says, how you have Genzy, Bucky, Hampton, Judkins?
Yeah, unbelievable backfield,
That's
right?
fair.
Must be an auction draft. Or I did see Judkins, dropped in a lot of leagues to start the year, so Ben Chet just scooped him there. Levi, thank you so much for the super chat. And awesome, we've been DMing a little bit on Twitter. You seem like a great guy, Levi. So, Levi, what's going on? Great to see you.
Levi, thanks for the super chat. Need to start 1, PPR, Worthy, Kincaid, IMNR. Again, I always mispronounce it. Godwin, Franklin, Thornton. If Worthy, there's a chance he is traded by Sunday. Who would be the second option?
Is Worthy in like the trade talks right now?
Maybe he's talking about his team.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's in a potential trade. And you might have sent this to me, Levi. I think it was Worthy for Judkins. And I said, absolutely, please hammer that. And in which case, if you do get Judkins, he's the clear runaway start of this list. I do think out of all these guys, I probably would also start Worthy. I mean, Godwin's tempting too, but both these guys are risky. And I feel like I trust Worthy a little bit more than him. The other guys, if I was going to pick one other one, I do think Ayo Manor is very intriguing. Really nice target share throughout these first few weeks. And the matchup's not bad at all. Houston, a good front 7, but not an incredible secondary by any means. I do think I just go for Worthy and go for the deep ball if I'm going kind of rolling these options. I don't know, Truth. Do you have any strong leaning on any of these guys?
Not super, super strong. Just that Worthy and Godwin, you're kind of talking about the same thing. It's like I'm really, really apprehensive about either one of them coming right out of the gate. I don't know.
Ayo Manor's got 16 and 14 in his back-to-back games in full.
Yeah, I know.
Back-to-back weeks, like he looks pretty good.
It would be hard. It would probably be hard to bench him with those numbers.
Kincaid's been looking pretty good this year too, though.
Yeah. I like Frank. I kind of like all these guys, but
right. You can make a case for any of them.
Right. It's hard to pick one. If you had, it's a super chat. You pick one. Where are you going definitively? I
think definitively.
I'll pick one too, but go ahead.
I'm going to go with Kincaid, actually. A full PPR. He's been getting good volume, good catches, 15, 8, and 18 across his last his first 3 games of the year. And he's been much more involved in the red zone. He's kind of bumped that roll up. So I'm gonna roll with Kincaid as my favorite here.
I think I'm probably gonna go Ayo Manor, but I will say that we're talking about 1 week. I fully expect Godwin to be a dog moving forward, but I don't love him this week.
Yeah, I think so too. I need to see it with Godwin first though. For me. So yeah, I'm gonna go Kincaid. Truth goes Ayo Manor. If Judkins becomes your running back, it's even easier though, Levi.
Judkins over Jalen Warren?
Yes, 110%. Absolutely. Love Judkins. I know Warren has more PPR upside, all that, blah, blah, blah. Judkins is an animal to come in and have like a week of practice and then go against a phenomenal defense in the Packers and just look amazing the whole time when no other running back has looked really good against them. And even the Ravens, he had 10 points, 10 and 17, running back 11 last week. He looks great. I really am just a huge fan of his game. So far. So yeah, I absolutely. I think getting Judkins right now, if you can buy him before he truly explodes, I would. And I think this could be the matchup. Detroit's, Henry was running all over them until he wasn't. But I think they're really just trying to make Judkins a point of their identity. And so I'm a big fan there.
All right, let's do like 1 or 2 more and then let's go rapid fire.
Yeah. Do you know what time you left off at?
Chrono's up here. Benson or Warren, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Benson or Warren, PPR.
Benson.
Okay, Who wins? Jake, we already got that one.
Yeah. Don't.
Javonte,
I'll go rapid fire.
Go for it.
And 1983, we're 20 away, 17 away, really, 16 away now from 2000. Hit that thumbs up button, folks, one last time. Would love to do it. I'm going to rapid fire try to get through the rest of this mailbag, but help us get to 2000 while we do it. Javonte or Kenneth Walker? Very slightly Kenneth Walker for me, AP. Good to see you, Y2J29. Been a while. I hope you're well, too. New daughter, everything over here. Everything is going great for sure. Bench Chase Brown for Judkins. I would saxophone Sunsets Media. Love that name. Goats, what's up, the Duck?
Goats, what's up, Duck?
Great to see you, Duck. Mark Da Silva, full PPR start one. Swift, Coleman, or Wandale? I'd go with Swift. Don't love it, though. Y2J29, roll with Harrison or take a shot on Kean, Elick, or Judy. I would go with Harrison tonight if those are my options. DJ Johnson, pick 2. Good to see you, DJ. BTJ, DK, Ladd, MHJ. Oh, man.
Wow.
I'd go with DK, and
Me
I
too.
think I'd go BTJ at that point.
Definitely am going DK after that. I'm not sure, but I'll go with it instead.
Apex, long time no see. Indeed, great to see you, sir. With Worthy coming back, do I start him over DJ Moore? Nah, I'd go with DJ Moore. Could be a decoy, could be a snap count, could re-injure. More risk there. Suave JP, trade Judkins and Travis Hunter for Henderson. Nah, I'd rather have Judkins straight up at that point. Bulldog, what's up, legends? Do I start May or Daniel Jones? I go May. Chase Brown or Trevion Henderson? I'd go Chase Brown in that one. Suave JP, CMC Jacobs benching already. Judkins Henry, I'd still go Judkins there. Trey Benson or K9. I'd go K9, and I'd go Debo over Olave. King Retros. Ibuka, Kenneth Walker, Quentin Johnson, pick 2. I'd be benching Quentin Johnson, but I still love him.
I love him.
I would be starting Judkins over benching Suave JP. Drop Judy for Tucker? Yeah, I'd probably do that, Kristen Mann. Liam Gill, full PPR, tight end premium, start 2. Waddle, Kelsey, Jawan Johnson. I'd be benching Kelsey, I think. He looks just awful this year. We are over 2,000, folks. Love to see it. And a reminder, all this content, all the rankings are at Roto Street Journal. Hey, fellas, Kyler or Justin Fields? I'd go Justin Fields, assuming he's in. You really blew it with your shade on blue sleeper. Yeah, he didn't pan out. I love the use of blue there, not Austin. I'm keeping the candle on there. It's only week 4. If Javonte gets hurt, there's a path there. But yeah, it's certainly not panning out the way I expected. Let's put it down.
One of my friends was also complaining about your Jaden.
Yeah, I was super hyped up. I'm shocked at how bad that one's going. I'm not going to lie.
It's okay.
Trey Tucker, but you're talking about a 15th round pick. Like
it's a 15th, right? He's a penny stock, man.
If your draft was dependent on Jadon Blue, your team was dead in the water anyways.
I agree.
But yeah, it wasn't a good call. I'll fully hit that.
So far, we'll see.
Shocker. I get one wrong every now and again. Of course, I get a million wrong. Everybody gets them wrong at some point. And yeah, that one was a faceplant, but so be it. Not Austin. I like your pun there. Giuseppe Russo, Trey Tucker, Jordan Addison, Christian Kirk, or Shaheed. I'd play Addison, I think, out of these options. Joe Mike, what are some players you would look for in return? I have a rest of season big board. Joe Mike, check it out. See who Kittle's near. But I really do love Kittle. Adam's not practicing, but I'm not worried at all. Tunes, I think he's just it's fine. Xavier Scott is a good dynasty stash. Yeah, he converted wide receiver. He has those 3-down skills. If something happened to Jordan Mason, yeah, I'm a fan. Michael Regine dropped somebody. Someone dropped Io Manor. I don't know if he's worth number 1 waiver priority. No. I like him a lot, but I wouldn't blow that number 1 spot. That's like a Trey Benson type of move. You want to save for that next running back there. Another question, MHJ or Keenan? I would definitely go Keenan there, Krana. Serious question for Alvin White. Start Trey Benson tonight or over Kamara or Genty? I'd start him over Genty. I really would too. Which I know could look foolish. Maybe I'm selling Genty a little short, but I just with that line, no matter how talented he is, and that's a question at this point. I'd go Trey Benson over both those running backs. I'm not going to lie. And then we got Pickens, Sutton, Tyreek, start 2. I would go with Sutton and Pickens on that one. Jonathan Santiago. Gino or Kyler, 6 points. I would go Kyler. Suave calling you.
Bro said that. That's right.
Bro said it. It was terrible. And I'm glad you called him out, Suave. Drop Tyquan, Woody Marks, Josh Palmer, or Franklin to take a flyer on Hortland. I'd drop Josh Palmer. Yeah, he's useless. I'm 0-3, offered Flowers for Rice. Yeah, if you're 0-3, you got to get something in there. I'd go for Flowers. RQ, need help starting 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. I mean, you're asking about Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Nico. I'm not answering that question. Come on. Like, you gotta clean up the questions to who you're actually asking about, folks. I feel bad because it's your first time here. I don't want to blow you off. But you're starting St. Brown. You're starting Nico. You're starting Rome. Easy. You're starting for running backs Kyron, and I would personally go Chuba. Good question, though. And then I would go Keenan for the flex. But come on,
Keenan's
don't ask me.
Definitely Keenan's in the flex, though.
Yes, I'd agree. CU. That one could have been like, who's my flex? Like you could have limited that to 3 people.
Right, that's true.
CU. Just traded Bijan. Did I lose this trade? Kyron, Adams, and Rome for Bijan and BTJ.
Wow.
That's a lot of fireworks. I prefer the Bijan BTJ trade, though. I'm not going to lie. Giuseppe, drop Booty for Horton. Yeah, I'd probably do that, Giuseppe. Pearsall or Tyreek. I'd go Pearsall, especially if Jennings is out, which it looks like he will be. I would probably bench Harrison Jr. if I could half. It depends who the other option are. Cody Hoxie, Charbonnet, Godwin, Josh Palmer, or Goddard.
Wow.
Oh, God. Godwin at that point. Just looks really healthy.
Godwin.
Yeah. Exactly. I'd go Kenneth Walker over Quentin Johnson, John. Trade away Lamar and Flowers for Kyler, MHJ, and Saquon. I prefer Lamar. And Saquon's part of that deal, actually. Yeah, I'd probably do it. Walker 9 or Trey Benson. I'd go Walker. I would go pick 6. Mason, Benson, Hampton, St. Brown, Igbuka, Tet, Adunze, and Golden. So I'd be benching Golden and I'd be benching Tet. I think you only have to bench 2 of those ones. Wendell. Tet says Truth and Moons over Miami. I don't even know what that means.
Over Miami. It's like you're making a pun of like a song title, I think.
I'm glad that Wendell Dillon appreciates chimichangas too. Let's go. Cannabis. Both my QBs are IR. Great question. Yes. Wolfie, it's Tailback Tino. Hey, what's going on, Tailback Tino? Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you. I know you're a new father as well. Maybe not new at this point, but I remember you saying you were having a kid and everything. New father over here. Great to see you, Tailback Tino. I've gotten this one a bunch too. Judkins or Benson. That's been like the question of the day on Reddit, everything. I like Judkins myself. I think I have him 20 and 21. They're neck and neck. Couldn't be closer. Full PPR gets it a little closer to Benson because he's a better pass catching profile. So it's a coin flip. I personally go Judkins. What do you think of Judkins versus Benson, Truth? That's a tough one.
My gut tells me Judkins, but this is one that could go either way, and it could go either way hardcore. Like, I mean, you know, if you told me one of them was going to outscore the other one by 15, neither result would surprise me that much. Yeah. I might go Benson just because he's playing tonight, but I like what I see from Judkins. I really do.
He looks awesome. I'm going to go Judkins. I just think he's the better player. Some good food comments. Poya. Oh, we did get a great super chat here. So we got to go with this one. BK, very generous of you, sir. Very
PPR.
I love you, BK.
Thanks so much. PPR, pick 3. Jalen Warren, Brees, Giante, Dobbins, and Benson.
It's Genty. Stop saying Giante. Come on. It's
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
To be fair, you called it a chimichanga. So
okay.
Okay. All right. So let's just admit neither one of us has a great grasp of the English language.
Yeah. So BK, I got to go Brees against Miami. Definitely firing that up. I'm going to go Benson tonight. I think he is better than the other 3 options you lay out. I'd probably go Gianti. I'd go Genty, I think, over Dobbins. It's very close. I know Warren's been dominating 80% of the snaps, all that. He's been so inefficient with his work, which is not his typical calling card, but maybe he was just like a small workload kind of guy. So I go Brees for sure. I go Benson for sure. Then it gets tough, but I think against the Bears, if there's ever going to be a coming out party for Gianti, it would be tonight.
No, you go ahead. I'm taking Dobbins over him, but I like your first 2 choices.
Yeah. So, okay. You'd go Dobbins over Genty though, huh?
I would. Look, I got to see it for Genty at this point. I agree it's a juicy matchup, but like right now we're just speculating. The guy hasn't really been able to do anything. Meanwhile, Dobbins is literally a top 10 running back right now. I'm rolling him out there.
It's fair and very close, but I'm going to go with the upside of Genty. Thank you so much, BK, for the super chat. Very, very kind, very generous of you for sure. We left off with Jorge, Pearsall or Benson. I'm going to go Pearsall. I like Benson a lot, but especially with Jennings out, I love the engine of that offense. Purdy's back. Let's go. Big league. Those are the only options. Schultz, it's got to be Cole Kmet. Come on. Something else is out there.
That one.
I'd go Andrews, though. I would.
All right.
Walker or Benson. We've gotten that one a bunch. I'd go Walker. Then we got KJ Frederick, better running back start. I like Wendell Dillon, too, helping people out. Great to see. Charb Snyder, Nick Chubb. I'd go with Nick Chubb. Don't love either. I wish these great guys would go down the list and answer everyone's questions. God bless. Thank you, John. That's what we're doing right now. That's why we do a rapid fire, brother. Tonjes Taylor.
He says later in the comments, he says he's a first time and he's a new sub. So
welcome. Let's go, John. Right. Great to see you.
So good to see you, John. And we do get to them all. We try to get to them all before kickoff.
We do. People helping each other out, so I'm just going to keep going. Wendell helping Frederick. Let's go. Cannabis, don't sleep on Brenton Strange. I do like Brenton Strange a lot. I have 6 questionable players. Pretty hard to figure out. Should I start Pearsall over Tyreek? I sure would. Yes. Awesome. Quincy Davis, full PPR, 2 running backs, 2. So you're asking about CMC. This was one I'm going to skip. We're not doing that. Ask
Come
about
on,
the guy.
come on, humor
ask
him,
your
Wolf.
question and limit it. We're in a rapid fire. I'm not reading your whole lineup. Like, pick the 3 guys you're actually debating, please. Judkins or Kenneth Walker? I would go Kenneth Walker there for you. Chris Chatham, half PPR. Trade JK and JMO for Higgins and DJ Moore. I like the JK JMO side of that myself. Good luck to you too, Wendell Dillon. Great job answering a bunch of questions. I appreciate it. Benson or K9? I'd go K9. Brown or Debo? I would go Debo, I think.
Wait. What Brown? What Brown?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, you got to. Even if it's AJ Brown, assuming that Terry's out and Daniels is in, I like Debo there.
I would, if it's AJ Brown, I'm going AJ Brown.
Fair enough. I'd go Walker over Judkins. I'd go May over Nick's TN. Benson or Warren, I'm going Benson there. Herbert or Mahomes, I'd go Herbert for sure. Gino or Darnold, I'm going Gino. Drop Dak and scoop Stafford and Darnold. I'd rather have Dak than those guys, but I have Devontae. I'd still like to, I'd like Devontae, sure. Trade accepted. Getting Ibuka, Genti, giving Bowers, Chase Brown. Thoughts? Pretty close. I think you might have sold low on Bowers. I don't know about Genti. Maybe you bought low, but I don't fully believe him. Charbs or Chase Brown, you got to go Chase Brown there for Dems. McKenzie, I also have Henderson, but mainly between Warren and Benson. I would be going Benson there. Fellas, what's up, Bulldog? I'd go May over D. Jones. I like them both a lot, though.
Really?
At the half PPR sit one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got the Carolina Panthers. May's going to run in for like 2 scores this week.
All right.
Olave, Higgins, Golden, sit one. I'd be sitting T there. I've been hyped on Darnold, and then you mentioned him. Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe you go for it. He's been playing great, like real-life ball. Still not an amazing fantasy ball. I'm not sure if this news, but Scary Terry will not need surgery. That's good, but he's probably not playing. Who for captain or MVP tonight for Malcolm? I'm going Trey McBride. This defense struggles against tight ends. Over half their scores, I think 2/3 of the scores against the Seahawks have been tight ends. So I'm going to go with Trey McBride.
Definitely.
Yeah. Trey Benson or Kenneth Walker. We got that one a million times. I am going Walker. That's going to be a tough one. I do get worried about that because Benson's definitely the clear feature back. I just like Walker, the talent, so much more. But we've gotten that one a ton. Do I scoop Torrey Horton for? Yeah, I'd rather have Torrey Horton. Yeah, I would. Start Charbs or C. Brown. I'd go C. Brown, Dems. 3-0. Let's go, our cannabis. Thank you, guys. I'm a new sub. Let's go, John. And you have the new subs, too. Please consider it. 2,200 almost. Thumbs up button. Help us get out to more people. Like, shares, retweets. We got 5 more minutes. Let's rip through the rest of this mailbag as fast as we can. PPR, pick 2. Benson, MHJ, Chuba. I would go Benson and Chuba there, VKT. Benson or Warren. I'm going Benson. Under Construction Productions. I would go Benson over Ramondre for sure. I like that name, by the way.
Me too.
Chris Cheatham. PPR, pick 2. JMO, Pickens, Hunter, Henry, Pollard. I would go with Pickens and Pollard for that one, Chris. Am I crazy to flex Ferguson over Pollard and Pearsall? Not crazy, Millie. See, I probably play Pearsall, but Ferguson has been an absolute hog, especially if this is full PPR show. Bench 1, Kenneth Walker, Benson, Flowers. I think I bench Benson there. Very tough one. Flowers is coming off a dud, but they really need that guy. In the Chiefs, I think he's going to have a resurgent there. So I begrudgingly bench Benson over Flowers. What do you think there, Truth? That's a tough one.
I agree with that. I agree with your take, but I understand why it's grudging.
Yeah. The waiver show is retired, Tunes. I just don't have the time.
So,
the baby here, I want to spend as much time as I can.
What I want to say to that is it's retired for now. Obviously,
for now.
We hope that this is going to be something that's like full-time down the road as the site keeps. And I would love to be doing 5 of these shows a week with the Wolf. So
exactly.
maybe down the road. We both love doing it. I have a real 9-to-5 job right now also. So it's not in the cards right now,
right?
But we're glad you miss it.
Of course, I would definitely do it fully. Sure, if I ever become full-time, would happily do a waiver wire show and stream every night of the week. Right now with a full-time job, new baby, certainly it's time to retire for sure. The waiver wire show for this season, probably, maybe, who knows? Maybe next season there's more.
I'm hoping down the road we're going to bring it all back full-time, like I said. But right now,
been the goal. Maybe
not this season.
For sure. And thank you, Millie C. And then Jacob Graff, the last question, Benson or Tet? I'm going to go Benson. I'm going to go for the running back here. I think he gets into the end zone.
I'm not sure.
Very tough question, but that was perfect. It's going right to kickoff right now. I am updating the rankings as we speak, so I'm going to toss the new updated ranking set in there. You can find those at rotostreetjournal.com, where we breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Guys, on your way out, one last call for that thumbs up button, one last call for subscriptions, and one last call to make sure you check out the website. It all helps us out so much. Thank you guys so much, too, for your generosity with the super chats, especially BK coming in from the top rope with a $20 super chat to close the show. Awesome stuff. Hope you get everything you need. Let's go Trey Benson if you're starting him. Let's go Kenneth Walker if you're starting him. I hope you get all the points you need tonight, folks. Let's dominate. In a world full of fancy sheep, guys, be the wolf. Later.
Later, guys.